Whenever I get in trouble, this is the one I call. It's my strategist right here. This is my brother.
Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to The Source, your source for celebrity news. Check this out. I want to start off today's video by saying thank you so much to everybody out there who supports the channel and who has helped us reach and surpass 75,000 subscribers in record time. I mean, real talk, y'all are the best, and I love y'all. Now, let's get into it. As you already know, the 13-year-old Jane Doe who's suing Diddy and JayZ did an interview with NBC. And during the interview, everybody realized at the exact same time that there are some serious holes and inconsistencies in her story. I mean, not little holes, but Grand Canyon-sized holes that have now created enough reasonable doubt that it's going to be very, very hard for her and her attorney, Tony Busby, to dig themselves out of the hole that they just done put themselves in. Source, can you please play the clip?
You should always advocate for yourself and be a voice for yourself. You should never let what somebody else did run your life.
A 38-year-old mother from Alabama who has filed a lawsuit accusing Sean Diddy Combs and JayZ of raping her when she was 13 years old is speaking out to NBC News for the first time. She asked us not to reveal her identity.
What made you want to come forward and talk today?
Because I think that I've been quiet long enough about what I've been through, and it's been hard enough to be quiet. But it's a chapter of my life that I'd like to close.
An NBC News review of her account found inconsistencies with her allegations. She says that she went to the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000 to catch a glimpse of her favorite celebrities.
You weren't scared to be all alone?
No, with having autism is like feeling like you live your life in a shatterproof gerbil ball. The world's on fire. The fire is inside the ball with you, but there's no way for you to get out.
In addition to having autism, the woman says she suffered a head injury. The night of the 2000s VMAs, she says a friend drove her from Rochester, New York to Manhattan, a more than 5-hour drive. Her attorney provided NBC News with the name of the friend who has since died. The woman says she spoke to Combs' limo driver who offered her a ride to an after party.
I stumbled upon Diddy's driver who told me that I was exactly what Diddy was looking for.
What did you think when he said that to you?
I thought it meant that I was just pretty.
She went to a White House, she says, where she spoke to musicians Benji Madden and his brother.
I'm talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo because, I have about his tattoo that's the Last Supper because I have a religious background. So it was just something to talk about.
In a statement to NBC News, a representative of the Maddens confirmed that they did not attend the 2000 VMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at the time. At the after party, she says she had a drink that made her feel woozy. Then she says Combs and Carter took turns raping her while a female celebrity watched.
JayZ comes in and rapes me. Well, he at that point I was fighting, trying to get away from him, and he put his hand over my mouth and told me to stop it, cut the.
After the alleged rape, she says she ran to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up and drove her home.
We rode home in silence. He didn't ask me what happened. He didn't ask me what I did or where I was.
In an interview with NBC News, her father said he could not verify the claims. Quote, "I felt like I would remember that, and I don't. I have a lot going on, but I mean, that's something that would definitely stick in my mind," he said. When we asked the woman about the contradictions in a phone interview on Friday, she said that she stands by her statements. "I have made some mistakes," she said. "Honestly, what is the clearest is what happened to me." The inconsistencies in her account of an incident alleged to have happened 24 years ago does not necessarily mean the allegations are false. The accuser's attorney, Tony Busby, said, "Because we have interrogated her intensely, she has even agreed to submit to a polygraph. This has been extremely distressing for her, to the point she has experienced seizures and had to seek medical treatment due to the stress." In a statement to NBC News, Sean Carter said, "This incident didn't happen, and yet he filed it in court and doubled down in the press. True justice is coming. We fight from victory, not for victory."
Is any part of you scared coming out against such powerful people?
Yeah, I'm scared of what could happen, but I'm more afraid of letting it eat me alive from the inside out than I am of, being chastised by their fans.
Now, after people saw that news interview, a whole lot of people who were sitting on the fence about JayZ were like, okay, that's it. This lawsuit is bullshit. Now, the three primary reasons why people are now starting to believe that the lawsuit is fugazi is because, in the news report, Jane Doe said that on the night in question, Diddy's driver took her to an after party after the party, where she spoke to Benji Madden and his brother. But the Maddens later confirmed that neither one of them attended the 2000 VMA Awards because they were away on tour. 2, she said that the friend who drove her from Rochester all the way to New York City is now deceased. So, her story can't be corroborated. And 3 is a biggie. She said that she asked her father to pick her up in 2000 after she was allegedly actually assaulted by the jiggler and the diddler, but her father is saying he doesn't remember doing that. Now, I must say that all of this bodes well for JayZ's defense, because there's no way in hell a father in his right mind is going to get an emergency phone call from his daughter who's stuck on the side of the road 5 hours away. He's going to get out of his bed, jump in his car, drive 5 hours, pick up his daughter on the side of the road, drive her home, and then not ask her why she was over there, and then forget the whole thing, especially when your kid has autism. And the fact that she's saying that he was in no state to remember doesn't make sense, because the only way that he wouldn't remember that is if he was drunk or if he was strung out on drugs. And the fact that he was able to drive 5 hours to pick you up shows that he wasn't drunk or on drugs. And I know, somebody's gonna come in the comment section and be like, yo, Source, that was 24 years ago. How's he supposed to remember that? Listen, let me tell you something. 20-something years ago, I was driving in Jersey, and I was speeding down a New Jersey turnpike, and I got pulled over by a cop, and the cop ended up taking my car. And so I was stranded in some little town in West Bubblecuff, New Jersey. So I called my sister and I was like, yo, I'm stuck in Jersey. I need you to come pick me up. Now, as I'm recording this, there's nobody around me. I'm all alone talking to you. But I'm getting ready to link up with my sister. And when I see her, I'm going to ask her where I was 20-something years ago when I got pulled over by the cop and she had to pick me up. Hey girl, quick question. 20-something years ago, I got stranded in a different state and I called you to come pick me up. Do you remember where I was and why I was there?
A little strange town in the middle of nowhere in Jersey. And why? It was driving, speeding.
See, there are certain things that people tend to remember. And one of those things is when you call them and it's an emergency and they have to get out of their bed and drive 5, 6, 7 hours away to pick your behind up. Now, don't get me wrong, because I be forgetting stuff all the time. As a matter of fact, somebody asked me how old I was the other day and I had to do a double take. I was like, I don't know. And then I thought about it and I was like, oh yeah. But with that being said, one would think that if your daughter was missing one night and you had to get out of your bed and drive 5 hours away to pick her up, you would remember that. And when her little behind got in the car after she done snuck out the window and went all the way to New York City, you'd be grilling her like crazy. The questions wouldn't stop for the entire 5-hour ride. Where were you? When'd you leave the house? How'd you get here? Who brought you here? Where were you at? Who were you chilling with? Have you been drinking? Listen, let me know in the comment section below. If your kid snuck out the window and went 5 hours away, and in the middle of the night they called you to come pick them up, is there any way in the world that they getting in your car and you're not asking questions? Let me know in the comments, and while you're down there leaving a comment, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Now, after people saw that interview, the pendulum swung in JayZ's direction, and people were like, nah, Hov ain't do this. We rocking with JayZ until the wheels fall off. And then one of the wheels fell off, because Tisa Tells was like, not so quick. I've done some investigating, and it turns out that Jane Doe may have made one mistake, and that was the date. Tisa pointed out that there's a legal precedent that says that even if a victim, especially if they have special needs, gets a date wrong, their case is still legally viable. She also pointed out that the VMAs was held at Radio City Music Hall in both 2000 and 2003. And this is important because the Madden brothers were in fact at the VMAs at Radio City Music Hall in 2003. And according to Tisa, all you have to do is swap out 2000 for 2003, and if you do that, everything that the chick said actually fits. Therefore, if Jane Doe got the date wrong and really meant 2003 instead of 2000, everything lines up. Now, after she disclosed that information, the pendulum started to swing back the other way, and people were like, yo, NBC is trash, Diddy is trash, and JayZ is trash. Man, the jiggler and the diddler definitely did it. And as always, people People heard what Tisa Tells had to say, and boy, did they start to run with it. I mean, they were running faster than Usain Bolt in the Olympics. And all of a sudden, people started to change their minds. And all over the internet, you started hearing, nah, she telling the truth, because it really happened in 2003.
Y'all, hands down, JayZ is going to jail. Y'all, he's going to jail. And everything that woman said is true. Only difference is she had the wrong year, y'all. She had the wrong year. She said it happened, I think she said, 2000 and something. It happened in 2003. Everything that she said happened in 2003. And shout out to Tisa Tells, because she was all in they tale. Okay, y'all? Y'all, when I say the shit about to hit the fan, it's over. Now let me tell you something. JayZ and his lawyers tried to get this out so fast, and the reason why, because they didn't want this information coming out. Y'all, it's about to go down.
Yeah, your reference to Tisa Tells, or Tisa, sorry if I'm saying her name wrong. I looked at maybe like an hour of her stream. I know she's still streaming, but I wanted to clarify some things, if that's okay, based off of what she stated.
Hold on. Nubia, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so she says that the law allows for a variance of 4 to 6 years as far as being off. So if you said something happened in 2000, but it actually happened in 2006, they'll still accept the claim. So
really?
Yes, there's a minor protection law for those that can't quite remember the exact date. That's what Tisa Tells was saying in her live. Yes, she did a lot of research. She said she conducted research for half a day before deciding to stream, and that was one of the things that she stated, that there is room for error. There's a margin. And I think people should keep that in mind before formulating a public opinion.
Okay, so as you can see, some people heard what Tisa Tells had to say, and once again, they started to turn on Jay. But then, there was a whole bunch of other people who were like, yo, what are y'all talking about? I don't know what Tisa Tells is over there cooking, but she needs to put that pot down, because she done got it all wrong.
YouTuber Tisa Tells is going off the rails after NBC News cooked JayZ's accuser.
So I say all this to say, okay, if you guys were watching live yesterday, 2003 is the year I believe all this happened. 2003.
Tisa Tells is spiraling over there, gang. She wants this to be she wants it to be true, because there's a lot of reasons for it. Because one, she got egg on her face because she been saying he been wrong for days. She been calling JayZ all kind of things for days. So now she looking crazy. So instead of being like, you know what, gang, this girl, we're gonna have to pull back on this girl. No, we're gonna bounce it around, shift the narrative, move it over here, make it like we want sympathy for the accuser. Fuck that. No. Because if he would have been proven guilty, you would have been making mad videos about how he's a devil and a demon and a sick individual. You would have been eating off JayZ for years because of this girl. But now you saw the video, you saw that she's kind of slow, and you saw her story ain't adding up. So now you're like, we need sympathy for starts talking about all this stuff about the court systems and how they treat victims. No, we ain't want to hear none of that shit. When you accuse a man, have your story together. It's painful. I'm just gonna be honest. Watching Tisa go down this rabbit hole. I told you I have no problem with her. I've been watching her for a long time. She works really hard. She does what she does. But this one she's spiraling. I think she needs to move on. Go back to getting that Diddy, which is cool. That's whatever. We have no problem with that. But at the same time, I need her to understand what's going on with this case. It's over. She's stirring up, she's cooked, she's whipping up. I'm telling you, she's whipping her fans into a frenzy. They sending all kind of letters to the state, and it's weird, gang. They're getting ridiculous. And what's going to happen is they're going to get embarrassed, and it's going to be worse in the long run for her. Her channel's going to suffer. I'm telling you right now. She keeps going on this narrative of trying to spin this in. Well, it's a lot of weirdos. I'm just being honest. Weirdos in them comments that just don't care. She says the most zaniest stuff, and they don't care. They're there for it, right? Like it's kind of severely demented to me in a way where they have zero critical thinking over there. It's just like whatever she says, it is what it is, right? But let me know what you think in the comments. Like I said, Tisa is cool and all that, but on this, sis, simmer down, slow down. It's over. Jay is not a monster. Now she's doing Jay and Beyonce's in financial crisis. Do you really believe that do you really believe JayZ and Beyonce is in financial crisis? Be honest.
Yeah, it don't make sense. It don't make sense. Now, I don't know what Tisa and her wig said. I don't watch her, but I'm sure she was clickbaiting her ass off. This story don't make sense. And that girl, somebody tried to tell me that the two guys that she said she talked to, one of them about the tattoo, that they was at the VMAs 3 years later.
In 2003.
I don't give a damn. That girl wasn't there in 2000, in 2001, in 2002. She was never there. They're lying. This is a lie. This is a lie. And people are getting their stupid asses on here. Well, she could be off about the years. No, the fuck, she's off, period.
Tisa Tells is so hell-bent and passionate to make her timeline work outside of what the actual accuser is saying, that it might as well be Tisha ass sitting in that scooter rubbing that goddamn rabbit's foot.
Now, after people started to refute Tisa Tells' theory about the real date of the assault potentially happening in 2003 instead of 2000, the original queen Ahmadiyya Shakur, who refers to herself as the real queen of receipts, jumped online and she was like, Tisa's dead wrong and I'ma prove it. And then she proceeded to break out her own real receipts.
I'm coming out talking about it today because Tisa Tells last night did a video saying that she had proof and receipts that JayZ's accuser is telling the truth. And I said, all right, go girl. Because even though me and Tisa don't get along, okay, I consider her my arch nemesis after all the negative things she said about me. But nonetheless, I was like, okay, girl, let's get into it. Because I believe that JayZ's accuser, hold on, let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I believe that JayZ's accuser is also telling the truth. Now, that doesn't mean that JayZ is guilty. But I believe that to the best of her recollection, she believes that what she has said is absolutely, in fact, actual and factual. She did say there were some inconsistencies, and we're going to get into all of that. But before I drop my receipts, which are the real receipts, which will give you the actual proof, I'm going to tell you why Tisa Tells got it all wrong. Because Tisa Tells, though she said that the queen is an idiot and that I have poor analytical skills, and has accused me of copying her receipts, but in fact I've proven time and time again that it's her who copies mine. Well, here's the thing. I have to give her credit because she says that she did the research for about 5 hours. And I could see that she did do research, but sadly, the research she did took her in the wrong direction and down the wrong rabbit hole because she has the dates wrong and everything. And so I'm going to show you her receipts first because I put them in the PowerPoint. So likes up, everyone, please like and share. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to I'm sure after she sees this video, she will likely remove hers. Okay, please pay attention. I'm sure after she sees this video, she will likely remove hers. All right, and I'm not saying this to mock her. I'm just saying this because it's the truth. And because if she hadn't talked about the queen, maybe I could have schooled her and called her and told her, or emailed her at least, and told her that she got it all wrong.
Alright, so after the original Queen Ahmadiyya, or Ahmadiyya Shakur, said that it happened in 2000 and that Tisa Tells was wrong, she was like, move over, little girl, let me show you how to do some big girl research. And she proceeded to say that 1, Benji Madden was not on tour in September of 2000 because according to her research, Good Charlotte's tour didn't start until October of 2000.
Then she talked about Good Charlotte. She said Good Charlotte was there and they performed at the 2003 VMAs. Everything she said was based upon her believing that this all took place in 2003. Okay, and now with that all being said, Amazing Grace says, was Tisa Tells born when the first MTV Awards came out? Honey, I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. But she didn't have to be born. All she had to do was do some real research and humbly do it rather than gloating and thinking that she was just on to everything. And the fact that she thinks or thought that she's smarter than attorney Tony Busby, we'll get to him in a second. Now, here's what the young woman said. This is taken from her lawsuit. I screenshot this. Okay, the lawsuit says the residence was filled with celebrities. I'm talking to like Fred Durst, Benji Madden about his tattoo. Because you know about his tattoo, that's like the Last Supper. Because I have a religious background, so it was just something to talk about. Okay, so she said Fred Durst and Benji Madden. But here's the thing. Durst and Madden's teams did not immediately respond to the request for comment, but Madden's representative told NBC News that the musician did not attend the VMAs because he was on tour with his band Good Charlotte in the Midwest at the time. Well, that's not true. You see, that's not true.
Okay, so after that, the original Queen Ahmadiyya Shakur also went on to say that Tisa Tells was also wrong when she said that the White House that the victim was allegedly taken to after the after party was some house in New Jersey, because Diddy didn't purchase the house in New Jersey until 2004. But instead, if Tisa Tells would have done a little bit more research, she would have realized, like she did, that the house that they're talking about is most likely Diddy's white mansion in the Hamptons.
What I do is I sometimes trust, but I verify. Trust and verify. Now, with that all being said, here's what really happened. And here you see on this other screenshot, it says that the young lady, when she was being taken to the after party, it says after about 20 minutes in the limo, she said in the suit, she arrived at a large white residence with a gated U-shaped driveway. I'm saying that the young woman described events that absolutely happened on September the 10th of 2000, as far as Eminem performing outside of the VMAs, as far as the house that she talked about. That sounds like the house that many of us have seen, and I've shown it to you all before, a white mansion in the Hamptons, in East Hampton, where Diddy had all of these parties, and he purchased it in 1998 and didn't sell it until 2020. So she did say it was a white house with a gated U-shaped driveway. Okay?
Now, after the Queen Ahmadiyya Shakur dropped a few more receipts to prove that her theory was right and Tisa Tells' theory was wrong, she dropped a mic on Tisa and was like, yeah, what? And then a whole lot of people came in her comment section and they were like, please contact Busby ASAP, email or inbox. The girl needs more help. Listen, do me a favor, whatever you do not send anything to Tony Busby, because the last thing that Tony Busby needs is a whole bunch of YouTubers sending him wrong receipts. Because even though the original Queen Ahmadiyya called Tisa Tells out for getting it wrong, I'm here to say that original Queen Ahmadiyya, you done just got it wrong too. Because in September of 2000, Good Charlotte along with Benji Madden were in fact on tour. And I know, you're like, Source, how do you know that? I know that Good Charlotte was touring in the Midwest on September 5th, September 6th, and September 7th, because here's the ticket stub to one of their shows. So, Queen Ahmadiyya got it wrong when she said that Good Charlotte's tour didn't start till October. Additionally, knowing that somebody has a tattoo and knowing what it looks like is not a receipt. That just means that you know that they have a tattoo and you know what it looks like. Because, I mean, honestly, I know that Tupac Shakur has a Thug Life tattoo across his belly, but that doesn't mean that Tupac had me in a room. You know what I'm saying? And 3, it's virtually impossible for the White House that the young girl is saying that Diddy's limo driver took her to be Diddy's house in the Hamptons. Why? Because she said that the ride was about 20 minutes long. Do you know how long it takes to get to the Hamptons from Manhattan? I mean, that right there is a 2-hour ride. Source, can you please put up the map? See, a lot of people who are not from New York believe that New York consists of New York City and the 5 boroughs, and they think that everything is a hop, skip, and jump away if you take a subway train, without realizing that New York is freaking huge. I mean, real talk, you could drive 8 hours in one direction and still be in New York. You might be in the Catskills, but you're still in New York. So, you have to understand that the Hamptons is nowhere near the city. The Hamptons is at the very tip of Long Island, which is a 2-hour drive away from Manhattan. So no, Diddy's driver didn't jump on the BQE and then jump on the Cross Island Parkway and then to the Southern State and then drive this young girl all the way to Sag Harbor, which is where Diddy's white mansion is located. It didn't happen. And if it did happen, that young girl wouldn't have been pulling into that circular driveway until the sun was up the next day. Which leads me to the fact that in her lawsuit, Jane Doe said that her father arrived to pick her up shortly before dawn, which means that after he got her emergency phone call, got in his car, drove all the way to New York City to pick her up, he would have had to arrive shortly before like 6:40 something in the morning. And that's crazy because that means that all of this would have had to take place before 1 something in the morning in order for him to get the call and drive 5 hours and still get there before the sun came up. And let me add this, because it's a very big and. There was no MapQuest or Google in 2000, which means that he couldn't just get in his car, just plug in the address and go get her. He would have had to get directions, a landmark, or an address from the gas station attendant or from his daughter or somebody else at the gas station, get a map, and drive directly to her location. Now, in order to do that, you'd have to stop along the way, you'd have to be figuring out the route, you would have to ask people where like such and such street is. There's no way that you jumped in your car, she told you where she was at, and you just drove straight there. I mean, for real, we all gotta remember, this was the year 2000. You're not getting directions off of a Nokia 6150. Now, a lot of people who know that I love doing my Kojak style investigations on YouTube have been like, Source, how come you were posting a whole lot about Diddy, but you ain't really saying nothing about JayZ? JayZ must have paid you off. No, the reason I haven't really weighed in and offered a lot of commentary on the Jay situation is that I haven't formulated a concrete opinion yet. See, just because she dropped a complaint alleging that JayZ and Diddy ought her doesn't mean that I have to formulate my opinion in just enough time to drop a YouTube video. Now, since you're so interested in what I think this. I think that the source is 80-20 on this, which means 80% of me is like, yo, this ninja didn't do this, especially after I watched that NBC interview. However, there's still a small 20% of me that's like, don't exonerate this ninja just yet. Especially because I keep asking myself, if Jay and Diddy are so innocent, then why is there such a disinformation campaign going on the internet? I mean, I don't know if y'all noticed this, but Tisa Tells got one thing right, and that was this. Right after the news dropped that Jay was added to the lawsuit, information started changing on the internet and photos and videos started disappearing with the quickness. For example, if you look up a picture of Diddy from the night in question, every picture is going to place him at a different location. Same picture, different location, and the same goes for JayZ. Now y'all tell me, how in the world did Diddy and JayZ at 4, 5, 6, 7, 18 different places at once? And why are professional photographers going back and changing the captions of their photos from that night? I mean, something's going on and somebody's trying to hide something because these cats even got ChatGPT over there lying. For example, if you ask ChatGPT where Sean P. Diddy Combs was on the night in question, they'll tell you that Sean P. Diddy Combs was at Lotus. And then, if you ask them where JayZ was, they'll say that JayZ was in Club Exit. But other people will say that JayZ was in New Jersey. But then, some other people will swear up and down that JayZ and Diddy were in the exact same club. And then, if you ask investigative reporter and photographer Dennis Byron where Diddy was at on the night in question, he'll say that Diddy was over at Cipriani's and he knows that for a fact because he was there too. Watch this.
I read the lawsuit. I know they're gonna have a problem because in this particular lawsuit, there were incident that this alleged 13-year-old claimed to have occurred. Mm-hmm. Well, the first thing, and this is very important, I attended the MTV Awards in September of 2000. Myself and another high-profile celebrity photographer. So we both attended the party. Actually, it was about five of us that attended the award. I think 5 or 6 that attended the award show and the party.
Dennis was out there partying.
There was never a party at a house.
What? Hold on, Dennis said there was no party? Oh, man.
These niggas lacking.
And here's the backstory. This is the backstory. And I have the slides. In 1999, I was the photographer hired to shoot the prototype for the Rockaway clothing line. And you guys can Google, do your research. It was the Comic Group, was the licensing company that JayZ hired.
Wow.
To design the clothing line for Rockaway.
So Dennis was up in there, man.
Damon and Rachel took over. So the timeline's not adding up. And I can tell you who was at the party. Lenny Kravitz was at the party.
Lil
Kim was at the party. J Lo was at the party.
Celebrity B? I don't know.
Lil Kim was at the party. J Lo was at the party. D'Angelo was at the party. Jack Black was at the party.
Oh, shout out to Jack Black.
So think about this. And I don't know how many you've seen the lawsuit. You got J-Lo at the party. You got Lil' Kim at the party. You got different people at the party. What's it? This claim that was a 13-year-old at the party didn't happen. I was taking pictures. Johnny Nunez was taking pictures. Frank Marciata was taking pictures. So this is interesting that an entire all-star party occurred and someone said it was at a house. It wasn't at a house. It wasn't at a house.
He did say
it was right in Manhattan. And you guys got to know, in my thumbnail, once you guys look at that thumbnail, I took that picture. Benjamin Brockman, an attorney, was at the party. Mario Winans was at the party. Jackie Rowe, who represented Mike Tyson, was at the party. There were a lot of people at the party. Let me just tell you, ladies and gentlemen, they're gonna have a hard time proving this case. They're gonna have see the problem here is that some of us kept our receipts.
Dennis said he's got the receipts too.
I mean, I have press badges going back years. I don't want to say, I think Tyra came as well. So I want to pull some pictures. Well, I don't want to. I'm going to go membership. I'm going to share some pictures for you guys.
And make sure y'all go join the memberships over on Dennis's channel too. He's got some great content over there. Dennis knows what he's talking about.
So the crazy part of this lawsuit is nothing is adding up. The award show was at the Radio City Music Hall, September 7th. No one's leaving Manhattan to go to Jersey to go to a party. In 2000, just think about it. Those who are old enough, over 50, think about being in Manhattan, who lived in New York City, and who has maybe tended to put some of Puff's parties. It was Cipriani's, the Manhattan Center, and Puff did a lot of parties at the Manhattan Center. But this one was at Cipriani's. But let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the photos don't lie. The photos don't lie. I posted tonight. I intentionally posted on Twitter a photo of Puff. And people say, why am I posting pictures of Puff? Because of the reason. Because that picture was taken at the party.
And y'all want to see the picture that he's talking about? This is the picture right here. Dennis took at the after party. He took this picture. He said a great photographer is not just an observer, but a storyteller, crafting emotions and meaning with every shot.
Now I know, after hearing Dennis Byron say that Diddy was at Cipriani's and he has the photo to prove it, I know, you're like, oh snap, Diddy and JayZ got an alibi. Listen, let me tell you something. This dude right here is lying, and I'm gonna tell you why. We know for a fact that Diddy and J-Lo were at the VMAs in 2000. Source, can we please see a picture? If you look at the picture, you notice that when Diddy and J-Lo arrive at the VMAs, P. Diddy has a mustache with a connected goatee. But then, Dennis Byron claims that P. Diddy left the VMAs and went to Cipriani's, where he took this picture. Now, if you look closely at this picture, there's a mustache, but the goatee is not connected. So, later on that night, more photographers take pictures of Diddy, and in those pictures, Diddy has a mustache with a connected goatee. So unless P. Diddy left the VMAs, went home, shaved his mustache, and then went to Cipriani's, where you took this picture, and then after he left Cipriani's, he quickly grew the hair between his mustache and his goatee back. Sir, the picture that you took that you're claiming is from Cipriani's from that night could not be from that night. But I am wondering why someone who says that they used to work for JayZ is now claiming that Diddy was definitely at Cipriani's. Now, of course, it could be an honest mistake. I mean, it was 24 years ago. But it also could be a coordinated effort. Now, what people looking into this case need to understand is that Diddy is very different than JayZ because they're two different type of dudes. For example, JayZ's from Brooklyn and Diddy's from Harlem. Also, Diddy sold out while JayZ bought in, which means that they play this game very differently. And you can't approach things that have to do with JayZ the same way that you can approach things that have to do with Diddy. Because just like Corinne Steffens once said, P. Diddy'll raw dog ya, but JayZ gonna put on that rubber. So, after I looked into things and quickly realized that the internet was being scrubbed and information was being changed all over the place, I was like, I'm not even getting ready to stress myself trying to do a deep dive into this. Because as I get older, my motto is work smarter and not harder. Which brings me full circle back to the story about me speeding down the New Jersey Turnpike 20-something years ago. In order for Jane Doe's father to get from Rochester to New York City, he would have had to drive through 4 toll bridges, including the old Tappan Zee Bridge, and he would have also had to go through the Lincoln Tunnel, because the only way you can get from Rochester to New York City without paying tolls is if you take an airplane, and we all know that he didn't do that. So, if he went through 4 tolls and went through the Lincoln Tunnel, there were definitely pictures of his car and his plates, because there were cameras at every toll booth and in the Lincoln Tunnel. So, if Jay wants to prove his innocence, or Jane Doe wants to prove that her father made the drive on that date and time that she claims, all they have to do is get their attorneys to get the toll footage from that day, and it'll support or disprove what she's claiming, even if her father can't remember. And I know, somebody's gonna come in the comment section and be like, Source, that's so stupid because that was 20-something years ago. Let me tell you something, Negro. New York State doesn't forget anything. Because the other day, I got a letter in the mail and these ninjas were like, Source, you owe us $140 for a ticket that you got in 1999. And on the bottom of the letter, there was a picture of my car and my license plate. See, unlike whoever's like scrubbing the internet for Diddy and JayZ, New York State does not forget anything. And they also keep that information on servers. I mean, real talk. If they keep the information in Mississippi, then you know darn well that they keep that information in New York City. Watch this.
I get the question almost every week. There's a camera at the intersection where my wreck occurred. How do I get that footage? In Mississippi, MDOT runs traffic cameras all across the state on different roadways. It'll take an attorney looking into whether or not your traffic cam would have been covered or recorded and stored. Most of them aren't in the state, but it is always worth a try to go find that footage that could show your wreck.
Listen, gas stations and businesses may erase their cameras every 24 to 48 hours, but trust me, New York State isn't erasing nothing, especially if they can use that footage to get a few dollars out of you. So if Jane Doe can get her a photo of her father driving over the Tappan Zee Bridge on September 8th, 2000, and then driving back towards Rochester about an hour later, then there's a high probability that JayZ and Diddy did it. But if his car ain't nowhere to be found on that bridge, this chick is lying her A off, and the case needs to be dismissed. Now, with that being said, like I always say, I wasn't there, I don't know what happened, but I can say this. Even if JayZ isn't guilty of what he's being accused of, the disinformation campaign that's going on online does make it look like Uncle Murda might just be right when he says that P. Diddy is over there using his boy JayZ to run plays to help him get out of jail. Because if JayZ can get Tony Busby disbarred, then guess what? All 200, 300 of his cases have to disappear, and those people would have to find new attorneys, but new attorneys might not want to rock with him because they have the stink of Tony Busby on them. And that would mean that P. Diddy would only be left with 9 or 10 cases instead of having a fight like 299 cases. Source, can you please show us what Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda had to say the other day?
Okay, we got a crazy moment happening right here with this JayZ lawsuit. He's got tied into the Diddy thing. A lot of people were shocked that he wouldn't just make it go away. Yeah. He had the opportunity, but he's gonna face this head on. My question is, you're from Brooklyn. You know, you guys are the New York.
I'm from Queens. Yeah. He's from Brooklyn here, baby.
So what do you think about this?
You know what I think happened? I think Diddy paid somebody to say that shit about Jay to get the heat off of himself because Diddy looking bad out here. I think he's trying to get the heat on Jay.
I never thought like that.
I think he paid somebody to put the heat on Jay. Gotta watch Diddy. He going through a lot right now. Keep me calling.
What do you think?
I think
It sounds like a money grab with that one.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. For somebody to extort you, send you a letter, and then you gotta send your lawyers, sound like extortion.
Yeah, they try to get that bread, man. And tell TMZ to make sure they use this. Uncle Murder and Tony Yayo, G-Unit. Whoa!
Yo, hey, your name is put out there like that. Like you had the choice to say, hey, you know, I didn't, you know, you could make it disappear. But he didn't. But he didn't. Do you think in the end, like, he made the right choice here? Because he has powerful lawyers. You know, he's.
I mean, get the lawyers on it, man.
Speak up, man. I seen him try to. I seen JayZ mention Brooklyn. He said, "Is this a Brooklyn? Brooklyn don't move like that."
Hey, he did.
Don't come from Brooklyn now, Jay. But Jay, that's Puff trying to set him up.
Hey, Brooklyn don't move like that.
Brooklyn don't move like that, though, baby.
Whenever I get in trouble, it's the one I call. It's my strategist right here. This is my brother.
Listen, let me know what you think about Jane Doe's interview with NBC. Her father saying that he can't remember ever making that 5-hour drive. Tisa Tells saying, SA victims often make mistakes when it comes to dates. But if you change everything to the 2003 VMAs, everything fits. The original Queen Ahmadiyya Shakur saying, Tisa Tells, you're full of ish, because I got the real receipts. Dennis Byron saying he was at the after party that night, and his photo proves that Diddy has an alibi. Therefore, JayZ is innocent. And Uncle Murder saying that this whole thing is a play set up by Diddy to create so much chaos that it'll taint the civil cases and the federal case, confusing jurors so much that his black behind ends up walking out of jail. Listen, let me know what you think about all of that in the comments, and while you're down there leaving a comment, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Hey yo, thanks for tuning into The Source, your source for celebrity news. Peace.